If gaming is the largest media channel on Earth, advertising still treats it like a side quest. Itamar Benedy is the CEO of Anzu, the guy who spent 8 years building real ad infrastructure inside video games, while everyone else was promising this was finally the year. 4 kids, not even 1% of the journey done, and he once watched Netflix run a campaign inside a game telling players to stop playing. This is the A.Ad Show.
Welcome to the A.Ad Show. I am Pesach Latz, and today we're talking with Itamar Benedy, co-founder and CEO of Anzu. If gaming is the largest media channel on earth, that advertising still treats like a side quest, Itamar is one of the few people who's been building real infrastructure instead of hype decks. The main question of the day, how are you really? Not the busy but excited answer. I mean, how does it feel to run a company stuck between gamers who distrust ads, brands who keep asking them for it anyway, and an industry that's promising the year of gaming since Blackberry was born?
I mean, busy and exciting also works well for my personal life. I have 4 kids. My wife just gave birth recently, a girl up to 3 boys. Busy and exciting, I guess, can work there as well.
Puzzle toe.
So, I'm building Anzu for 8 years, and it took me time to realize 2 things. A, it's going to be significantly bigger than I originally imagined. But at the same time, it's going to take much more time for the market to really mature and be where I thought it's going to be earlier on in the journey. We are not, maybe not at 1% of our journey achieved yet.
Yeah, some of this stuff we're talking about in gaming, I was talking about in 1998, and we're finally getting to it. And you even said that you built your company carefully. What does that actually mean in practice? Does that mean you're slower at growth or turning down deals that look fantastic?
So I'll say a few things. There's a gap between what you need and what you want, right? So when you speak with a game developer, when you speak with a gaming platform, when you speak with a brand, you speak with agencies, and we spoke about there's a lot of different players in this ecosystem. There's what they want and there's what they will eventually need. So because there's so many players involved in the ecosystem, we're taking our time before, executing, but once we decide something, we're a full force. So there's a few examples I can give later on of what it means, but just maybe taking our time and making sure that for the broader ecosystem, this makes sense versus a specific player and a specific time in his, journey.
If last touch attribution worked, your waiter would get full credit for the meal. We make sure the chef gets credit too. Incremental.
So can you give me a real moment where a brand gave you this genius idea, but it actually turned out to be horrifying inside a game?
Yeah. So during COVID, that's better in order to concentrate. So during COVID, I thought it was a brilliant campaign with Netflix. That basically the assumption during COVID was that people were or playing games or on Netflix. Right. So a campaign on in our gaming platform that said, go back to Netflix, because if the only 2 places were gaming and Netflix, it sounded very creative, but there's something about taking people out of the gaming industry to the Netflix, right, which is so there was something maybe.
Well, Netflix now has games.
Yeah.
now they're streaming
exactly,
games.
But back in the days, it maybe felt a great creative idea that, wasn't really received well by some of the gaming community people.
Right. They should have found a way to integrate to watch Netflix in the game. That would have been interesting.
Yeah. But that was,
watch The Witcher in the Witcher game. That would be amazing.
Netflix for a long time said no gaming and no advertising. And no cable linear TV. And now these 3 things are basically almost everything that they do today. So,
So you're actually from the ad tech industry. What metric did you have to mentally unlearn once you entered gaming where attention is chosen, not skill?
So I looked at a lot of things in terms of black and white. Brand needs X in order to do Y. And I realized that when people are motivated, they can suddenly become very flexible. And this is something that I didn't, initially understand, because I thought without these 5 building blocks, there is no advertising business. And then I realized, it's not black and white how I initially thought it is. And it's really more about motivation.
Okay. What motivation?
If a brand is very motivated and excited, he can be more flexible than what I thought originally he will be. we'll speak later on some stuff around measurement, right? So
Right.
a lot of brands have like rules. Without vendor X for measurement, I don't do any advertising activations. And I took that working assumption for granted, but I saw over time is that clients get more motivated and excited. They can be more flexible in how they work.
So why do you think brands are finally coming to gaming? Do you think they actually understand it, or they realize that other channels are starting to fail?
I mean, it's a combination. Some brands and agencies are starting to understand gaming. I mean, in general, digital natives get gaming more than generations before. And Dentsu a few years ago hired Brant Kuning to lead their gaming division. He's maybe one of the people who know more about gaming, like in the advertising industries. Some brands and agencies have this like internal know-how of understanding gaming. But in many cases, it's more about brands and agencies that don't fully understand gaming. So there's two different use cases that they find. One use case is it's just a good media opportunity. I can buy traffic for cheaper. The performance is going to be better. I don't care. It's gaming. Gaming is the excuse. That's one use case. And second is more like this like need for like hard to reach. Some platforms, people spend more time, don't have an ad-based model. And that's more maybe closer to what you said of like other channels, becoming less relevant. And then there's a need for gaming. But I would say this is not yet the biggest chunk.
Eric Troutman, the czar of the TCPA, isn't just the guy you call when your phone rings too much. He's the guy you must call. Need to navigate the legal minefield of robocalls, texts, and telemarketing nightmares? Troutman doesn't just give you advice. He hands you a roadmap, a compass, and a do not press this button sign. Practical? Yes. Actionable? Absolutely. And if you're not calling him first, let's be honest, you're probably making a mistake.
Which current channel do you think gaming is closest to? Is it social, CTV, display?
I think it's a very broad, like definition. If you're playing like a casual game on your idle time on your mobile device, if you're like you're playing on PlayStation 5, Call of Duty as part of your platoon, it's a very different experience, right? So gaming has this areas where, esports, competitive sports is very popular, areas where like more like the CTV console experience is, and there's also like the mobile piece. So I think it's hard to label and like one of the problems or challenges is to take 3.5 billion people who play at least one game a month, 90% of the people connected to the internet, and defining them as a one group. So you really break it into smaller pieces of types of gamers. And then some of them are more similar to the TV experience. Some of them are more like to the mobile experience. And a lot of what we do is basically is a digital out of home experience inside the game. So like a virtual digital out of home. But the whole principle of digital out of home is that it's not a real digital experience. There is no measurement. There's no, targeting and personalization, which we do offer. So it's very fragmented. It's one of the challenges.
Well, on the casual gaming side, it seems like almost all the ads interrupt, manipulate, or psychologically ambush the player. How do you make intrinsic ads that don't have loop mechanics and subscriptions and paywalls?
There's different types of buyers. The more like brands and buyers and agencies really understand the user funnel, we have a better opportunity. Because if you think about advertising, it's first and foremost about this positive experience that the brand wants to have with the consumer. Now, some types of ads like reward ads do give a value exchange. A lot of so bring value and they have a positive experience. But that's less relevant for many brands because there's a reward mechanism relevant only if you have your own app or own game. But a lot of the ads are just very intrusive and just give a bad experience. Websites blocking people to enter the website because they use an ad blocker and people using an ad blocker because the ad experience is annoying. The more the brand understands where his content is, we have a better opportunity in the sense of this native, positive type of experience. So it's a lot of education. It's a lot of explaining the behind the hoods of programmatic and what you think you're buying versus in reality what you're buying. There's a lot of education, but there's very positive trends in understanding more what's really going on and how we can bring value to this like use case.
So what game genre do you think absorbs intrinsic ads almost naturally? And which genre of gaming should never have intrinsic ads?
So it's a good question because I had my, like misconceptions of, racing games are great and fantasy games are not
A
great.
billboard on the...
But
Yeah.
what we learned is that it's much more about the producer and how will they do the game integration than the game genre. So we have like a lot of data showing that there's a strong correlation between, as gamers, don't think that the ad is an actual ad, but I think it's more a content that's part of the game. Then the ad is going to have a stronger impact when this is like, like a very foreign, object in the game that doesn't really make sense. It looks like, so we have examples of like gamers thinking that the ads were built in the game. One example is gaming companies who use fake ads to try to make the game more realistic and replace those fake ads with real ads, gave more value to the gamers, that it felt like a more realistic gaming experience, plus gave them this like ad revenue. Like some examples, like sport games is very, the billboards around the stadium, of course, or cloning from like, physical sport, like in the stadiums. But in many cases, it's really about the creativity. League of Legends, not many people thought that brands ads can, feel natural there.
In a fantasy world, it's hard to have billboards.
Yeah. And like medieval era, like, like gaming environments, and how do you make the ad look and feel? So it's really about like the creativity and like the integration than anything else.
So why do you think brands underinvest in gaming? This is a multiple choice answer. A, they don't understand it. B, agencies don't sell it. C, they're scared of gamers. Or D, all the above plus institutional laziness.
I mean, it's a combination. I mean, I'm afraid from gamers, right? I mean, like,
it's the 12-year-old gamers that are swearing at me that always scare me.
Yeah, but like I think there is
the angry kid that says he's going to find and kill me. I always get that kid.
I think, it's important to take things into perspective. The loudest voice is not necessarily what the majority think. So it's important to take all the feedback, but like to be cautious and careful, in how you treat it and what do you change or implement. So, I mean, it's a combination. More and more brands are bringing like in-house gaming expertise, which makes our life significantly easier. A lot of brands are still like, doing gaming for the wrong reasons because of FOMO of their competitors, because, McKinsey and BCG told them in their last, report that they need to be more in gaming. But even if clients from the wrong reasons come to gaming and then and then have a great experience, then, ultimately it serves the goal to make gaming a bigger, better advertising marketplace.
So what metric do you think will matter in 5 years from gaming that most CMOs currently dismiss?
So I think there is, a spectrum. Like on the one side, it's about outcomes. And a lot of what the industry today, there is, the attention economy is gaining some like momentum. And, for years, clicks was an important metric, and there is different attribution models that's like companies, but ultimately it's really about like the outcomes that you can get. And there is better and better ways to understand outcomes. But I think on the other side, there's something about outcomes that doesn't give you the full picture around the, like the look and feel. Like I think over time, the look and feel of the ad experience is going to matter more. If you're buying cheap traffic and a tier 3 website and getting amazing outcomes, there is a negative impact for you as an organization that it's hard in the short and midterm to really understand. So I think it's all going to evolve around this like pixel perfect look and feel of ad experiences on the one side and outcomes on the other side. And there's going to be better KPIs to measure these two core metrics. I mean, let's take the click, right? I think some of the IAB UK called it, don't be a clickhead, right? But the problem with clicks is that it's an easy way to measure. Yes. But think about like a soccer team that only the strikers get recognition. I mean, in that world, some of the biggest soccer players in the world will not be considered great players. And for how many years this model is still, like the leading model for performance. So I think like to answer your question, in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to see a shift towards more real outcome measurement, and AI can play a really big role in understanding the value of that. And then after some years, that people will be too, outcomes and data driven, the look and feel, the premium experience is going to again, like become an important factor. And then ultimately these two things are going to balance each other. And we're trying from the get-go to build our platform to maximize both of these parameters.
So you mentioned previously that quite often the loudest voice is what everyone hears. So how do you guys deal with the idea of community when the community constantly gets angry and the person with the loudest voice always hijacks the conversation, especially in the gaming world? In the last 5 years, I can think of a dozen examples.
So I think it's about giving gamers opportunities. Some gamers are very comfortable paying $100 for the new GTA. Some gamers are happy with, a Netflix for gaming, Xbox subscription model. Some of them, not many people complain about Facebook or Google about the ad experience versus paying for Facebook or Google, right? So people like free products and are happy to pay for it if the ad experience is not bad. What I like about what we are doing is that we can, our business model can be combined with almost any other model. We can work with paid games. We can work with free games. We can work with subscription games. Not every gaming company can do $1 billion plus revenues from selling, skins in the game. Because a problem with in-app purchases and microtransactions, if they make you better in the game loses the competitiveness. It's a very delicate balance of how do you sell something that doesn't make you better and still people wanting to pay for it. And that's amazing work from the Roblox and the Fortnite guys on doing that, but not everyone is Fortnite or Roblox. So for us, it's remembering that the louder voice is not the majority, and it's about giving and the way I see our role here is that we represent the brands and agencies, and our goal is to make them as comfortable as possible to spend more in gaming. And the gaming companies and the gaming platforms are basically strategic partners. They represent the gamers of accepting this business models, and then it's dual work between us representing one side, and then the gaming companies representing the other sides, and working in collaboration to make this better.
So why do you think gamers will forgive mistakes made inside a game, but will never forgive founders and makers that are condescending to them?
So hardcore gamers, in many cases, the first thing when they'll ask them about something new, they'll say no, right? So when mobile gaming became a big thing, a lot of hardcore gamers were against it. That's a mediocre platform, and we play on our PlayStation and we'll never play on mobile. And a lot of people play, Call of Duty on mobile, right? And there is a blockchain. A lot of hardcore gamers were against it. So for gamers, the first thing, they will not be flexible and changes. I think it's really about transparency with gamers around when you did a mistake to be, to acknowledge it and to try to find a way to be able to experiment more things. And part of experiments is doing mistakes, but having this communication that allows you to try stuff, and some of it will not work and some of it will work. And this way to help the industry to move forward.
So why had gamers controlled ad standards for a year? What change do you think they made that would terrify advertisers the most?
So if gamers will control the advertising rules, standards. So the first thing is NASDAQ will go 30% down because gamers have a very, specific perspective. They don't fully understand where the brands and advertisers are coming from. The thing about advertising is that you don't need to love it. You need to hate it less than alternatives, right? So as you understand that, and as advertising can give, in many cases, a better alternative to a paid product, to a game that only rich, people can buy and play. I think as you understand more where advertising is coming from, then you want to find this middle ground to make it work. Netflix was against advertising for a long time. This is now their highest, the cheaper tier with ads is more profitable for Netflix than the premium version. They were careful in how they did it, but they did it right. So I think there's a lot of education on how gamers and gaming companies think in order to build a successful advertising business. But once you do it, it will give them a lot of value. One of the problems in gaming today, if you see charts around consumer time spent in gaming, and then you see how much revenue will a gaming company do for each hour of a gamer playing.
Right.
It will be significantly lower than almost any other medium, Hollywood, TV, music, like you name it. So, and one of the reasons for that is the gaming industry not embracing some of the benefits that advertising can bring to the table. And what we're trying to do is to, as early adopters of this, is to build a new market that will eventually benefit, first and foremost, the gamers.
So you've also been working on standards inside of games. What problems do standards solve the market is currently refusing to fix?
So like Anzu is the first media that brings the advertising to programmatic. Now, a lot of challenges happen in the 3D world. So for example, all of your previous standards for measurement, for viewability don't really apply. Because in the 3D world, there's like another dimension of, is the ad actually viewable or not viewable? So we took on ourselves this heavy lifting on creating new standards, because for too long, the gaming industry tried to build an advertising business going against the advertising industry. If you're a gaming company and you only sell hard-coded ads, and it's not programmatic, then you go against Trade Desk and you go against IAS and you go against all the companies that make advertising such a successful and a big business. And what I believe is that it should be the other way around. These advertising companies should be our biggest partners and make gaming a successful medium and not go against them. So part of it is to bring standards that give the confidence for the brands who ultimately sign the checks.
So how much do you think the innovation in ad tech currently is just improvisation with better branding?
There is very little innovation in ad tech, or there's very little innovation in advertising. Many companies are misusing the word innovation to create a great PR story. So there's a lot of people are very skeptical in the ad business around innovation. If done right, innovation is a game changer. We are trying that's like a North Star for us to do that. I think a lot of people like the advertising industry and just are getting bored that so many companies are the same. There's so many big companies that the difference between them is the color of their logo. That's anti-innovation. So yeah, it's a great question because there's unfortunately not enough of innovation in that space.
So I want to put you on a desert island. This is my favorite part of the show.
Okay.
We forget surround, no fishing, no shelters, no fire starting. This is about how you think. You could bring 5 people, not to stay alive, but to build something from nothing. Who do you bring and what problems do you immediately try to solve together?
It's a good question. I'll build this, commando team, early startup days. So my co-founder, Ben and Anzu, this is year 15 for us together, our third company together. We're friends from school. He should be part of the gang. One of my mentors is Ben, can be our chief product, and that's unit. One of my mentors is David Sable. I think he's a good chief strategy role for something like this. Mask should be our CTO. I think he's better as a CTO than as a COO. As a CTO than a CEO. And maybe you have in mind a great CFO to add to the mix. So something like that where, it's about building. It's not about, anything else, just very hands-on building stuff.
So you bringing builders onto your island. What does that mean when there's no company, no capital, no audience? What traits do you think they bring when prestige disappears?
Builders, in many cases, don't care about titles. They are very hands-on, no matter how senior they are. Right. And they like to get shit done, right? So if there's not too much ego in that room, then you can do some pretty good stuff.
Who do you think you would absolutely ban from the island? The genius who needs worship, the optimizer who kills momentum, or the talker who confuses motion with progress?
I actually want all of them. Because I think if you know how to manage this group of people and more almost right. Moderate, each one of them brings a different perspective to the table.
You think you could manage Elon Musk?
I don't think anyone can manage Elon Musk, but I think if Elon Musk to do what he's maybe the best at, then you can get pretty good outcomes there.
One of your 5 keepers keeps saying we should pivot on day 3. Do you listen, demote, or throw them in the ocean?
It's a good question. If Elon says that and we don't do it, then he'll just put all of us in the ocean, right? But one of the things about startups is that on the one side, you need to be stubborn and patient. It took us years to find this product market fit for Anzu. But then you also need to know when to be flexible And it's almost like, contradicting being flexible versus being stubborn. So maybe pre-Anzu, I would tell you too early to pivot. And maybe now I have this like understanding of we need to be open-minded for different voices and even like unusual ideas.
I think this island reveals what type of leader you are.
So I'm a team player. I don't have a lot of ego. I know how to manage ego, and I'm a botch. Like for me, it's just about making things happen. So if bottom line, we can make things happen, and then it's like sound like a good structure.
You said that luck is the super discipline or vision.
That's what our CTO thinks, Elon from the island.
Right?
Yeah, that's he convinced that. Yeah, he convinced us that from all the superpowers, that's the best, and he was pretty convincing. Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Is he himself felt very lucky?
I think he is. Maybe he'll think he's not lucky, but I guess it's a very relative question. But like, obviously,
does he think he's lucky to work with you?
Let's see after we, ship some good products, right? The harder you work, yes, you'll be luckier, but like any place where you'll be lucky standalone will just make your position already better. So I think it's good to have luck for.
We talk in a few years. How will you define success when the company's stable?
Build the next product. Yeah. So once we streamlined, growing, it's stable. This is a great time to build the next product line, utilizing some of the advantages we have in the business.
If you had a startup tomorrow, anonymously, no one knew you, no reputation, no network, what's the first behavior that you would never repeat?
Our thesis for Anzu was correct. The timeline of how and when it's going to happen was by far wrong. We were wrong on the order. So originally I thought Anzu is an advertising platform for premium gaming, for console gaming, for VR headsets. I didn't have this bigger vision I have today that the broader platform is also about mobile gaming and web gaming and PC gaming and cloud gaming. So understanding this is a more omni-channel play than just the consoles and premium gaming play. We would have done things different, understanding that, number one. And number two, the order of execution would have been different. So not many people know the official Anzu name is Anzu Virtual Reality because we wanted to start from the VR headsets. We thought there was going to be a lot of consumer time spent there. I was in MWC, Mark Zuckerberg, he was part of he was bullish on VR. By the way, he can maybe also be a good addition to the island, by the way. But him and Elon, maybe we first need to put him in the cage to do to battle a bit, and because they spoke about it for some time, maybe before they can collaborate in a team. And so the order of if you want to build the biggest, gaming, omni-channel platform to be able to communicate with every gamer on the globe, and then the order of platforms to integrate should have been maybe done differently. Cloud gaming is going to take some time. It's going to happen. I'm less optimistic I was in the past about. So it's more about the order of things, but nothing really major in the sense of the thesis and the vision.
So last question, the least question. 3 years from now, when people talk about you, when you're not in the room, what do you hope they say you refuse to compromise on?
I'm going the extra mile.
And the last part is we make everyone dance.
Okay, so we dance together. How does this work?
So, to recap. Gaming is the biggest media channel nobody's buying. The sacred ad tech checklist is actually written in pencil. Fake billboards are more real when they're real. And if you only measure strikers, you'll bench Messi. Itamar Benedy is 8 years in, 1% done, and going the extra mile, while the rest of the industry is still looking for the lobby. Massive thanks to our sponsors, Troutman Amin LLP, who keep us out of legal trouble we probably deserve, and Incremental.com, who actually measure things that matter instead of counting clicks like it's 2009. This has been the Adotat Show. Be bold, be curious, and know more than you did yesterday.